So I would think that probably the majority of folks that are listening to this very first episode are probably people that know one or all three of us, wondering like, what are these clowns doing starting a podcast? What would you tell them?
As soon as I left the house this morning, anytime I mention this to Danny, my wife, she just gets that shit-eating grin on her face, like she thinks I'm like mentally retarded for doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of that. It still feels weird to be like, hey, we're trying to start a podcast. It just doesn't roll off.
We're trying to start a podcast because we think we're interesting.
I don't even like telling anybody about it.
Yeah, it definitely feels strange. But I feel like, kind of the concepts that we've put together of, looking at digging into, science, technology, politics, history, health and nutrition, any one of those can bring forth ideas that, maybe none of us have heard of or one of us has kind of thought about, but, the podcast would be something where we can just take a deeper dive into whatever subject, kind of spark some creativity in us and, just go from there.
And not everything we say is going to be right.
Most of it's going to be wrong.
Most of what I say is probably going to piss people off.
That's the culture we live in. Everybody's pissed off all the time, so that'll work great.
Give them something to talk about.
Yeah. So to dive into our topic at hand, which is on aging, just what are your thoughts just coming into this, blind about aging in general?
You go ahead, Brad.
I don't understand your question.
Well, I mean, just like, you're 26, I'm 27, Travis is like 47, I think.
53 next month.
I mean, just like it seems like we were teenagers last month, and now, all of a sudden we're, thinking of 401ks, and we're looking at how many years until retirement if we get to retire, and just and then, to push that even farther, the topic of death that nobody ever wants to talk about, and people probably get sick of me, going on and on about death. But I mean, just from that, like,
I mean, it's terrifying. I mean, we're getting older. The days are getting faster. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I think people worry about aging too much.
What do you mean?
Like there's a pill that can grow your hair back because you're balding because you're aging this. There's a cream that can make wrinkles go away. Breast implants, different augmentations. You can make yourself look younger. I think it's all just retarded. Because I think I look better with age. I think if you look back to me as a picture, 17, 18 years old, I don't want to look like that again.
Man, my wife talks about that all the time. She's like, men look so much better as they age, and women want to stay 21. And they spend their entire lives after 21 trying to be 21.
Because have you ever just went somewhere and they're like prom or something's going on, you're at a restaurant, and like the 18-year-olds walk in, they look like they're fucking 12.
Yeah.
And I don't remember looking that young when I was that young.
But then you look back at pictures like, yep,
yeah,
sure was.
Like I don't want a baby face. Like I'm good with aging. And death doesn't really scare me too much because I don't think about it all the time. As far as like it's going to happen to everybody. You don't know when it's going to happen. I could drive home and it happens.
Yeah.
And if you worry about it, you just give yourself anxiety over it, and then aging becomes a bigger deal.
Well, Sinclair makes a great point right at the beginning of this book, where he mentions that your spirit often dies much sooner than your body does. And I think that's kind of a key part of, what this entire book is about is, my mom kind of mentions offhand every now and then, it's kind of as a joke, it's hell getting old. But I think at her age right now, that's kind of just a joke. She's just kind of getting the some feelings of age, but you see some people that are in their 70s and 80s and their body is, there, but the spirit has completely left them.
They're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think your mom counts in this because she runs fucking marathons.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I work with a 60-year-old. He's training for an Ironman next year. He's like 63 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he acts like a 20-year-old. He acts younger than I do.
See, but then again, he does athletic things, so I don't think necessarily if you have a mindset of being young, your body's like, well, fuck, we're 20 years younger today.
Yeah.
Like, it has a lot to do with the way you take care of yourself and doing the things that people do to stop them from aging that's not healthy isn't taking care of yourself. So in a couple years, you get a bunch of Botox, guess what? You look worse than you would have if you didn't do it.
That's exactly right. Yep. Have you seen the what was that OJ thing on Netflix?
Oh, the one with Cuba Gooding Jr. in it?
Yes.
Okay.
And John Travolta is in that, and
Shit,
he looks so awful.
I
Like
just
he can't even move his cheeks to like, holy hell, dude.
My wife just watched Grease yesterday, and I've seen that too, and it's like not even, it's an alien.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of actors and actresses that haven't aged in like 25 years, though, and I don't know if they've had work done. Like Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves hasn't aged since Bill and Ted, but I don't see him as the type of person to have work done.
No.
And you can tell in a person when they have work done or when they haven't, because when you have work done, you don't look younger, you look like shit.
Yeah, and to your point about looking better with age, like Keanu Reeves and what's the new movie where he's a badass gunslinger?
John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That versus like hardball Keanu Reeves,
Yeah.
he looks so much better these days.
Yeah.
So if you had to take a guess of what average life expectancy is, what would your guess be?
In the U.S. or globally?
Based on in the U.S. and there's a men's number and a women's number.
Say 74 for men, 77 for women.
I'm going to go 68 for men, 70 for women.
Looks like Brad's a little bit closer. Men is 76, women is 81.
Well, I'm not living that long, so that's why I figured 68's good.
And next trivia question, what was the oldest any person on Earth ever lived?
116 years.
No.
Damn.
123.
Very close, 122.
Really?
Yeah, a woman named Jean Clement, or Jean Clement.
But see, where
Of France.
But France.
Wasn't that
see,
a controversy, though?
Yeah, there was something,
Her daughter, like, claimed her identity for something.
Yeah, there was some sort of, Sinclair kind of hits that there was, a little bit of a wrinkle with that, but yeah, if that holds true, that she's supposedly the oldest living person.
But would you want to live to 122?
Not in that condition.
Well, I figured you would probably say that. He makes a great point in this book. So if his theories hold true, and we'll dive into all of them, 122 could be normalcy. See, for years we've pushed what the average life expectancy is, but we have not really pushed the maximum limit. Like the mathematical probability of a person reaching 120s is like almost a mathematical improbability, like absolutely impossible to live that age. But there also hasn't been any science up until, or there's been very limited science. He's actually been working on this stuff since the late 90s. But, as far as a research of something, that's still relatively new.
Yeah.
I want to dive into this deeper because I'm so confused because the title of the book, How We Age and How We Don't Have to, like, in my mind, I'm thinking like he's got like this immortal thing he's going to throw into this that's just going to piss me off.
This book is incredibly dense, and I went through it once and went about halfway back through the second time. And have you ever just spoken with somebody that just about everything that rolls off their tongue is going over your head
Every day.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how this guy is. And the only real way that I can pick up most of what he's saying is when he takes a second to be like, all right, here's what I just described with
Dumb it down.
Yeah, with your brown fat and your mitochondria and all this stuff that's flying over my head. He's like, here's the analogy that makes it click. And that's the only time. And I wish there were more scientists that are willing to articulate their findings to a real basic level like that. I think like Neil deGrasse Tyson is kind of popularizing that, but apparently in the scientific community, it's like he was describing he's gotten some bad feedback from other scientists saying like, you should really just be providing exactly what, your science has found, not like really pushing it any further than that. So,
but I think a lot of scientists do that because big words scares Americans.
Yeah.
If there's a big word you don't understand, you're kind of going to get a little worried, like, maybe this is something to worry about. Maybe the world is, you know what I mean? Maybe the world is going to come to an end. This is a big word.
He does this thing where he'll go out and talk to folks at, assemblies or whatever, and he'll make them put this aging suit on. And so just imagine trying to walk around for a day or a week or a month. You're wearing a neck brace, so you have like very limited mobility laterally. You're wearing a lead vest to stimulate or to make your muscle strength go way down, and earplugs to reduce hearing, ski goggles to simulate cataracts. He makes this poor kid walk around like the whole assembly with this whole suit on. That's what folks that are, like we described about earlier, in their 80s and just, going from hospital to hospital, like that's their life. And, that like mom's joke about, aging as hell or getting old as hell. That is a living hell. I mean, if you're walking around Earth like that.
Well, look at the guy that was going to the gym with us. He had nothing to do with in his life.
I don't know what that's picking up.
Probably a phone or computer. Yeah, no big deal.
He was going to the gym at 5:30 just to talk to that one dude because he was lonely.
Yeah.
See, now I do think, because I know I said earlier that, a lot of these people, they're not like eating healthy and stuff, and having a good lifestyle will make you live longer. But like if you have, I guess if you have like a lonely mindset and you feel alone, or you're kind of hating on yourself, I mean, I guess that would, obviously affect your length of life and your health. But on the other side of that, like I said, if you just wake up happy every day, it's not going to fix everything. I mean, it'll help a little bit, but it's not going to fix everything.
Well, he dives into a few things that we can do right now to start to increase our aging. So we can get into some of the science if you want to.
Little words.
I'll try my best to give a synopsis of a entire book that's way over my head. But I mean, just about everything he says in this entire book is mind-blowing. So there's no biological, chemical, or physical law saying that we must age at all. And that sentence alone, I was like, hold on.
Yeah.
But he's right. I mean, aging is like the driver, and you're in the back seat of a car, and your driver is taking you to whatever disease or whatever illness is ultimately going to kill you. And he says that, lost my whole train of thought.
Well, on that note, I kind of not understand the whole thing, obviously, but I'm starting to get it when he thinks aging is a disease, because how many people do you know that die of natural causes?
Right. Well, that's what I was going to get at. He describes that, doctors are kind of not supposed to describe somebody as passing from just old age. There has to be a cause that's separate, because aging isn't at this point described as a medical condition. So you can't just die from old age in our current thinking. But Sinclair is saying this is absolutely a disease, and it should be described as the reason that people are passing. And so this is kind of the genesis of why aging might not even be a reality in the future. Our DNA When you think of DNA just in general, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Trav?
Just
If I just say DNA, what's the first image that comes in your head?
Well, the spiral.
Okay.
The first image.
Just like, well, I don't know about image, but first thought is just like traits handed down from family.
I'm thinking immediately of some fucking murder show where they're saying they got blood, DNA is going to find whoever did this.
See, I was going to say that, but I was thinking
thing.
Semen, and I didn't want to say semen. So.
Oh, you should have said it.
Well,
you thought of the third thing.
Damn it.
But DNA is so much more than just like, something that's convicting somebody of murder. Like, it's so deep and it does not age. And that's why, like, your adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine, that's basically like zeros and ones that are involved in coding.
Yeah.
And it can be copied over and over and over again without losing any data. And that's why they can go back 40,000 years to Neanderthals and extract their DNA and know exactly all of their human genome.
See, this kind of is related, but I'm gonna branch off a little bit because you said something that irritates me, like when it happens, not what you just said, but like when we're watching these documentaries and stuff, and they talk about like dinosaurs, they find like their bones and stuff, and they dig into and they can tell you how old they were, what they ate, what they look like what the fuck? Like, see, that's why stuff like that kind of throws me off a little bit, because I think of that and I'm thinking, because obviously I don't have the degrees they have and all that, but I'm thinking, how in reality can they find out this stuff happened from finding a bone?
Yeah, from what Sinclair describes of DNA, it's so much more powerful than I think we currently give it credit for. And it's like finding a brand new computer that's happened to be buried underground. Here's all your information.
Stash of information.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not sure if Sinclair is the one that came up with the information theory of aging, or if he's just the leading champion of it. But it basically describes that aging is due to a decreased functionality and an accumulation of genomic damages in cells. So we'll kind of break that down. So basically what he's describing is our DNA is like sort of like on a DVD and there's a scratch over it. And we try to play the scratch DVD, and for your younger folks, DVDs are like this, like a disc that you put in a DVD player. But you wouldn't go out and buy a whole brand new DVD player just because a DVD has a scratch over it. The scratch is basically over top of our DNA. And if we can remove the scratch, that can completely either... Moving some of the scratch is going to make us live 15, 20, 50% longer lives, maybe 100% longer lives. And who knows in 1,000 years if people can, it might not even be that long. If in 100 years we can completely erase the scratch entirely, there's nothing saying that our limit of our lifetime can go on forever.
But do you want to?
That's a great question.
I want to live to be 200, but I don't want to live forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in kind of a framework of what we can kind of digest, over the next 50 years, pushing age to, for folks to be in their 120s consistently is, a massive shift in, what we're thinking. And there's an argument that Earth can only support 8 to 9 billion people.
That's what I was going to ask. What do you do about population?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we have thoughts on that topic too that we're gonna get to in another episode. But
what about retirement? Is that just gone? You just work forever?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, what about the guys that are 80 right now that are retired? You just fixed them, so now they got to go back to work. They've been off for 30 fucking years.
Yeah. I think
they just die. They'd be like, I'm done.
Yeah. I know, but because I know we're branching off a little bit from what the actual thing's talking about, but I do think let's say he figures this out, and everybody lives 150, 160 years old. It gets figured out. I do think that if that were to happen, could you imagine the suicide rate?
Oh, it'd be through the roof.
Yeah, he mentions that. I mean, I think the entire way we're going to think about work and how we make money is going to change, and I think the way that we think about death is entirely going to change. He brings up assisted suicide at some point, which I didn't know in some states is even legal, but
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I think
there was some girl.
I think in Oregon, maybe.
She went to Oregon. She had like cancer or something.
Gotcha. So in Oregon, if I wanted to kill myself but I couldn't do it, I can just get in my car, drive to Oregon, and find somebody to kill me, and everything's cool.
No, it's a doctor.
No.
Oh, it's a doctor. Okay, yeah. See.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, they just fucking
like euthanize
your
you.
grave.
Yeah. I didn't know if there was like some like shop
Russian
you can
roulette.
go to where some like 16-year-old kid works there and he offs you for you, and God, that'd be expensive.
That'd be a great job.
Oh, I just let it show how fucking stupid I can be sometimes.
I forgot to turn my timer on this thing. I wish I could see how long we've gone so far.
23 minutes.
Okay,
I can run my mouth for a lot longer.
So he also brings up this process that even without anything that he's doing, there's some proven things that can engage your longevity genes. And he thinks in the future they're going to be able to provide a pill that will mimic all of our natural reactions. So it's called hormesis, and it's sort of like anytime your body is in an uncomfortable place, not anytime, but things like intermittent fasting, and as soon as I read something about fasting and how it could potentially push you to live longer lives, that made me think of why fasting maybe is, so prevalent in the Bible.
Biblical. Huh?
Yeah.
Or maybe they just didn't have any food.
That too. Yeah. No, they used to think that fasting was a way to give your body a break for a while.
A reset.
Yeah. I don't think that's entirely true. I think your body a little bit has to work overtime to compensate for not. But that process, though, where it's engaging those cells to react differently is what's engaging your longevity genes. Have you seen a picture of David Sinclair, by the way?
I'm going to look him up right now.
The dude's 52, doesn't have a wrinkle in sight. He looks like he's
a vampire.
Vampire, yeah. No, he looks like he's, I don't know, at least in his 30s, or at most in his 30s. He says his cardiologist tells him that he has the heart of a 30-year-old.
He is young looking.
Uh-huh.
But see, that's 52 isn't old anymore.
No.
Like when you think when we were like kids, I'm talking when we were 7, 8 years old, and your grandparents who were 50, 52, I feel like they looked a lot older than we do, like they do now when you're 52.
Even 40 looked old
when
we were kids.
Like I don't know if that's just like because we were so young, it seems so old.
I don't know, man. They looked rough. They did.
But see, that's 20, 30 years ago. Adults lived harder lives than they live now.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
They did harder work. They actually worked. We'll get into that in another episode. Yeah.
Oh, but so there's fasting, and he kind of recommends, or what he does every day, is basically just skips one meal a day. So for me, skipping breakfast is like no problem at all.
Yeah.
Even when I do, if I do eat anything, it's like a granola bar or a banana or something, just because I work out in the mornings too. But skipping breakfast is fairly easy.
You get 8 hours
like a 16
sleep.
plus 8 fasting schedule. Yeah.
I don't think I ever eat breakfast like ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I probably don't eat the first time until it's after 12, probably 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Yeah, so if you were doing 1 o'clock and then you stop eating at 9 o'clock, that's
Just have a small window of when you actually eat.
Mm-hmm. The next one he's got is a little bit harder. Just eating less in general. Like not starving yourself by any means, but like finishing your meal like you could still eat another 30% or something. You know, just a little bit of a hunger. Like it's just engaging enough of an uncomfort level, I think, that it kind of triggers like, hey, we got to...
It sounds like this whole thing is trying to keep your body in survival mode. Like it's... stalling every other system.
Yes. Yeah, and, you know, if there was a single pill that we would take that just makes that same reaction without having to basically trick our bodies.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing natural about going to a grocery store and buying more food than you can possibly eat. You know, living in a 72-degree house at all times and, you know, under blankets with heat or, you know, cooling during the summer. There's nothing natural about any of that. So your body's like, hey, we've got it good here. So as soon as you start, you know, doing things like that to kind of trick it into, I guess, engaging the genes.
So they already have a drug for this? Or they know what the chemical is?
Yeah, so let me go back to that.
Why can't they just give us the pill now?
There's human testing on a lot of it. And I think a big part of why he wrote this book was because, one, people don't think of aging as, they just think it's, you know, what we do. So the first step is you got to get folks that are even talking about it, which is why I wanted to talk about it, or, you know, all three of us did. So that you can get, you know, like the FDA on board at looking, you know, at specific drugs, because you got to first characterize aging as more than just, you know, something natural. But then you can, you know, start having real clinical trials, and then you can eventually, you know, push this stuff out into the market.
But see, that's the thing though. If they were be able to do this and they could get that pill that helps your body, you know, makes you healthier, we live longer, would that really be on the market? Because if you think about it, our economy is based a lot around aging and death.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There will certainly be folks that don't want any of this to ever hit the market.
The government. Yeah. Big pharma.
Or do they push it because then they can...
sell it to only the wealthy?
Yeah. Well, Sinclair is like pushing at, you know, you're aging, or you're living a longer life, but you're also going into your 80s, 90s, 100, and you're still feeling like you're 30.
Yeah, but what about all the medical industry? Like, everybody just fucking perfect now. They don't have to sell any more wheelchairs.
Yeah.
No more anything. All the pills are gone.
So it seems like a good question out of all of this, and even the theory is this something that the world needs? I mean, it would be great. I mean, death blows. Like, it sucks losing somebody. It sucks. And we all want everybody we love to live forever. But in reality, would it hurt us in the long run if everybody lived 40, 50 years longer than they do now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think space becomes an issue eventually, but there's counter studies to that. I mean, that's one thing I found in researching, you know, this and reading his book and related articles is like you can go down so many rabbit holes of looking into exactly what you're talking about and the nuances of all of that. And there's just so many just different directions that you can break off from, and you can never find the end of it.
Okay, but like he was saying, you don't want anybody to die. So now we're all living to be 1,000 years old. In today's age, somebody dies when they're 40. You're like, well, he had 40 more years to live. Mm-hmm. Death becomes way more horrifying when that guy just lost 500 years of his life.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah. Imagine meeting, like, your great-great-grandchildren. And
I don't know if I want to.
And
I've got enough of them.
Yeah. I got enough of my own. I don't need any more. We're going to have 10,000 square foot houses to get all of our family around for Christmas.
And then that comes into light too. Let's say somebody goes out and murders somebody. normally you would get a life sentence.
Yeah.
Are you in prison for 100 years, or does life sentence stay the same? At what's a life sentence? It's like I don't know the exact number, but it's not actually your entire life.
It's like, I want to say like 25 years.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Well, hold on. Let me Google this real quick.
I was thinking 25 also, but I could be wrong.
It's not what you would think it'd be.
No, I can't see anything but this one like says a life sentence is like 30 to life. So it's around 30 plus years probably. If not, just ignore that piece of it. But what I'm saying is, so does that mean after that life sentence is up, they get out of prison and they're fine now? Or does the life sentence get longer until they actually die?
Yeah, that's a whole new level of, I mean, how we incarcerate people would entirely have to change. I mean, we're kind of already starting to go down that path right now, I think.
I mean, everything would have to change.
Yeah.
I mean, every aspect.
Yeah, I mean, well, even like we kind of have this tendency like, well, you know, you're graduating high school at 18 and you got to get out of college by your mid-20s and you got to, you know, you got to be married by 30 and you got to have kids by 30, you know, like all of that, the way that you think about education and, you know, finding a partner and having kids, everything changes if your in total scope of life is, you know, even increased by 10%. That's the thing, is that he doesn't have to, you know, Sinclair doesn't have to completely find an end to aging for there to be just dramatic shifts in, you know, how we look at life. So he gives this this one molecule. It's called NMN, and there's a few different I don't know whether they call them supplements or what have you, but he gives this molecule called NMN to these mice, and this is like a months long experiment, and he's trying to see if it has any effect on their aging and their, you know, like their outward appearance and that kind of stuff. Well, he walks in on like a Monday morning, and one of his lab assistants comes running up, and he's like, David, our experiment is just ruined. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, these mice have been running on this treadmills for so far and for so long that it's broken all of our treadmills. And these mice are the equivalent of 65 years old in mice age. So they gain this addiction to running and just are like super healthy. And they had set up these treadmills to 3 kilometers, which is like more than an ultra marathon for us.
Yeah, for miles.
Yeah.
Why were they just running?
He said they had gained
Sounds like cocaine.
Yeah, maybe it was. I don't know. He says they had gained like some kind of, straight addiction to running.
I don't want that.
Well, maybe that's the secret.
But I mean, they could have like way over drugged them. Just you know, like.
Well, no,
they have no idea what the effects are going to be.
Maybe it is coke. Maybe that's that's how we live longer.
Dude, look at all the rock stars.
Yeah, we need to do more coke. Kids, do more coke.
Look at Steven Tyler.
Yeah, Steven Tyler. Look at all of the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Why are we looking at Steven Tyler?
Because he lives on coke. His heart relies on coke.
He looks like a goblin.
Truth. Ugly doesn't mean old, though.
He's 140 years old.
He could be. So being slightly cold is also something that will engage hormesis. So, like, apparently he gets up in the morning and, like, just in a T-shirt, if it's 50 degrees or lower, or, you know, even if it's in the 30s, he'll just run out with, you know, shorts and a T-shirt just to engage that level of hormesis, I guess. And he says that heat is still being studied. Like, there's been positive and negative reactions to, you know, going in a sauna or something. But
I think this guy is just one of them guys that like pain.
he could be like a David Goggins type or something.
Yeah.
Just built different. Guesses on what your diet would look like?
If you're on this pill?
No, to engage hormesis.
Crumbs.
No, it's mostly plant-based, so
Vegan.
that part sucks. Yeah,
Well, I couldn't do it.
yeah, I'm out.
There's not a green thing I eat.
He says that the 9 amino acids are vital for your longevity, and red meat has all of that, but they've found like numerous effects that red meat has negative effects on aging.
Why is meat so bad if we're...
I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna live to 100. Then I can't not eat red meat.
Yeah, why are we omnivores if we're not supposed to eat meat?
I don't think he's saying that you're not, and he does eat some meat. He just doesn't like.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, he was saying that your meals should, on a consistent basis, look more like a rabbit's meal than a lion's meal. I think it's kind of like what we were thinking about earlier with just always being overindulged. Like if you always have meat, which your body is clearly craving, and it has all those amino acids that are vital, but just a smaller portion of it would be like the optimum.
Yeah, like we were actually hunting for it.
Yeah.
You're not going to kill a deer every day.
Here's one that kills me. He says sitting in front of a computer screen is just as bad for your health as smoking.
Well, fuck, I do both. 68. That's as long as I'm going.
That's going to be
Why,
a study in the future. I don't
But
know.
see, here's the kicker. We're never going to reach this because the way technology is, everybody says, that's my job.
There's no long-term studies of folks sitting in front of a computer for X amount of years. We're the test mice on that.
See,
You're going to need to start running naked or something to counteract your screen time and smoking time.
I don't know what the fuck but what's the job then? Like if this is going to not help us age, or this is going to make us age quicker, this is going to make us age quicker, what the fuck do we do for a living? We all just study aging?
Pick berries.
But see, I'm sure stress is a big factor in it too, and unless I'm hitting lotto, like stress is there.
Yeah.
And it's never going to go away.
Yeah. In the future, we'll also have, you're wearing kind of the beta version right now. We'll have like all this bio tracking. He says that, no, already no?
Nope, I'm not. Nope. I don't even like having an Alexa in my house.
Okay.
I don't like that. Alexa freaks me out.
Well, would you take your would you take your gas gauge off of your car?
Well, no, because the government can't see how much fucking gas I have. What?
Wait, what do you care about the government knowing?
Well,
what your heart rate is?
Yeah, but then they get location, then they get this, then they get this.
What are they going to do?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just talking with you.
What about Elon Musk's hyperlink, where they're trying to implant something into your brain to where you can talk to each other, like telepathically?
Oh, hell, I haven't heard about that.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but...
That's an episode right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that. Like, as far as, like, do you have, like, two lines in there? Like, one to yourself and one to everybody else?
Yeah.
Or if you just walk by somebody and they hear exactly what you're fucking thinking.
Yeah.
See, I'm a progressive in all this stuff.
What?
Sign me up for everything.
Yeah, what if ISIS hacks your implant in your brain and just explodes it?
That is... I mean, maybe not to that extent, but that is a good question. All this technology, even the watches and stuff, what if somebody learns to hack that and to use it as a weapon of mass destruction, all this technology, and we're adding more that controls ourselves?
We're already carrying around something that knows our exact location at all times.
I know. Damn it.
That's his comparison to like warning lights on your car is kind of what struck me. He was like, you wouldn't drive a car without a speedometer or a gas gauge, or you don't run out of gas before you go to the gas station. That's what we do with healthcare. We wait till our shoulder is about to fall off. Brad just had surgery on his shoulder, for anybody that doesn't know. But we don't wait until that point to go get it fixed. We would have a wearable or implanted or whatever system that's Like, hey,
diagnostic system.
here it comes. Yeah, and
There's
right
a
now
heart
it's
attack coming in 2 days.
right now it's it's just your blood pressure and basic things. But later on, after your cells are wearing away, like he's talking about, are going sterile. That's when it can really start picking up. Like, here comes cancer.
Yeah.
Here comes heart
Go
disease.
get checked right now.
Take this certain whatever to get rid of that, to counteract.
You wouldn't even need to go for checkups.
Right.
That would be your checkup.
Yeah. I mean, while we're talking about you guys mentioned the healthcare part of this.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're completely killing it.
But I mean, this made me realize why healthcare is so expensive. You don't have any idea what's wrong until it happens.
Yeah.
So, at least with a car, you have some degree of telling what's going on with it. What do you think, Travis?
There's somebody out there right now that their gas gauge isn't working, and they're just like, fuck you,
These clowns and their high-tech gas gauges.
I don't know. I can kind of see that side of it. But there's always that, and I'm being over dramatic about it, but there is always that little paranoia in my head about all that stuff.
Yeah, I get it too.
Like, do I really think the government gives two shits what I'm doing? No.
Until they need to.
Yeah, until they need to. Hopefully I don't give them a reason. But it's just the fact knowing that somebody could possibly just hit a button and know everything about you like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
all your health records.
I think we keep thinking of this stuff like it's really far off. I don't think it is.
No.
I think it's 5-10 years away. Like, really dramatic, like, world-changing stuff. Like, like the Jetsons stuff that was supposed to be basically at this time, I think it's right at the doorstep.
I'm still waiting on my flying car. And back in when Back to the Future came out, it was supposed to happen in 2015. All this shit was supposed to have flying cars, Nikes that sucked on to me, and it's probably not the right terminology, but you get it. No, but I do think good breakthroughs like that and big breakthroughs are just right around the corner. I mean, a lot of it's already there. We just don't know about it because it's not made public yet.
Yeah, it's still in testing.
Here's another story that kind of came out of those Harvard labs. So one of, I guess, like the lab assistants and the folks that work there have been like kind of religiously, like they believe in this stuff so much that they take these supplements like these NR and NMN supplements themselves, and they've had family members taking them because, especially if they're at a point where why not give it a go kind of thing. Well, this one particular gentleman was giving NMN to his mother, who was, I guess she was not in the best condition, not like death was at the doorstep or anything like that. But she comes to him and was like, such and such, whatever his name is. I just had a period for the first time in X amount of years. It reversed her menopause.
Well, that's terrible.
I will not be commenting on menopause.
But I mean, to even like get into it, and
so she could get pregnant again.
Yes,
that's insane.
And she's like in her 70s.
Oh, dude, her husband would be pissed.
Yeah.
Getting pregnant when you're 70. And that's another flip side of it. Could you imagine not starting having kids until you're 70? Like, it becomes the norm. Like, I still got 70 years left of my life. Let's go ahead and get some babies going.
Your grandkids grow up with your newest kid.
Like, you literally you can live two different lives. Like, you can live the first part of your life. Yeah. You're 70. Guess what? You basically get to live the family life now.
You could be 50 years old and have a brand new baby brother.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That would suck. I wouldn't want that.
All right, we're at about 46 minutes. You guys want to kind of wrap this up?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a fascinating book, and I would implore anybody listening to check this out because we've just barely scratched the surface, and there's so many avenues that you can go in learning this kind of stuff, and that's kind of something that we want to promote just in general in this podcast is like there's so much out there to learn. There's so much out there to look into. Have at it. Learn something this week.